Hi friends, welcome to Law Chat with Girija. I'm Girija Patel, your host for Law Chat, and I am so excited for you to join us today. I have some amazing guests on Law Chat, and they're here to share their experiences and entrepreneurial journey with us, and through their storytelling, mentorship with us, because that is the whole point. We are all entrepreneurs and we're all on a journey, and learning from one another is the best way for us to move forward in our journey as well. And I have amazing guests who are so willing and ready to share their stories with us, their challenges and their victories and their achievements, and also their mindset. I just can't wait to share that with you, and I also just can't wait to have that conversation with them. It's such a privilege to have each and every one of them here with us today, and also it's such a privilege to have you listening in and tuning in. So let's dive in to Law Chat with Girija.
Hi friends, welcome to Law Chat with Girija. I am so happy you've tuned in today. I have some really fun information to share, but also information that I hope really helps motivate you and gets you going to that next step that you need to take in your business and in your dreams. I know we all have dreams. I know you have big dreams, whether you've already started them or whether you're still contemplating, brainstorming, designing, dreaming. Wherever stage you are in, it's there, it's happening. And sometimes the scariest part is, how do we get started? How do we get to the next step? So let me help you today get to that next step. Maybe give you some little tips here and there about how to start your business. Or maybe you've already started your business and you're like, oh gosh, I didn't get that done. And so put that into your to-do list as well for your business so we can get you on a solid foundation. Now, before I start, I have to give my disclaimer that I am a lawyer licensed in Texas, but I am not your lawyer. And I am giving information that is meant for educational and informational purposes only. It may or may not apply to your business, but it does in general apply to all different industries. But if you do need to hire an attorney, you need to go call me, sign a contract of engagement, and there you go. We'll get started. Anyways, I wanted to talk to you about starting a business. So a lot of times when we start businesses, we are thinking about all these things that we want to do, but we're also thinking about our ultimate thing that actually came to our mind to start that business, right? Whatever that solution is that you are, the problem that you're resolving and the solutions that you are finding, that is your focus. That is where you are inclining and leaning into. And so what I wanted to do was really let's start with the first step, because dreams can be big. Dreams can be simple, but then when you start, it can be really complicated. And so how do we help ourselves filter the noise and really start focusing on the dream and making that dream into a reality, because we're putting action now behind the dream? And so the first step is to actually brainstorm, brain dump, write it down. Get your Google Docs out or get your paper and pad out, whatever works for you. Get it out, start brain dumping, brainstorming. Talk to people that you confide in, people in your circle of trust, people that you know will give you good advice and will give you good direction, and have conversations with them. Talk to them about the business that you're planning or the ideas that are popping into your head. And you never know what kind of advice you might get from those people. And so when you start brainstorming, brain dumping, and putting all your ideas there, they don't have to make sense. I know I'm the kind of person that when I'm brain dumping, I really need it to look clean and perfect. Even my brain dump needs to look perfect to me. And then I have to keep reminding myself, hey, listen, this is a brain dump. You're going to go back in and filter it out. You're going to go back in and organize it. And so I have to really keep saying that to me, to myself. So if you're like that, just keep brain dumping, and if you need to, organize in between, but don't stop yourself because it doesn't look perfect. Perfection is something that's not attainable, because once you achieve whatever you think is perfect, you're now trying to achieve something else. And so just start with a brain dump and start confiding in people that you trust and getting some guidance. And once you start doing that, you will then have an idea of where your business is going to be going, where this idea, the trajectory of this idea. And you're also going to start realizing what are some challenges that you're going to have, some obstacles that you have to overcome, and some of the positives that you're going to have, things that you can really lean into and leverage, people that you know, network, or even education or other resources that you might have. So it's really helpful to start really getting more focus and clarity in your dream, in your vision. And then what you want to do is take that and put it into a business plan. Business plans can sound daunting. Business plans can sound overwhelming, but the reality is that you need a business plan. And the reason is because the business plan now takes your entire brain dump and organizes it, and also allows you to forecast issues and problems and project how much you need to make at a certain time and how viable your business is. Now, of course, they're projections, of course, they're estimates, but at the same time, you get a good solid ground on, or a footing of where you are starting. So business plans are essential. They help you really give clarity to your vision, and it helps you put your vision into a format. And a lot of times when you are looking for investors, or when you're looking for a small business loan, or when you're looking for somebody else to help you and help you financially, they want a business plan. They want to know, where are you going with this vision? This is great, but have you done the market research? Have you figured out how much money you truly need, or is this money that you think you need? What are your expenses? So all these things will fall into a business plan. And market research is important, and it's definitely something that is part of the equation. So you should definitely, put yourself out there, do some market research if you need to, especially for the business plan, and figure out the need for what service or product you are about to put into the market. And then from there, once you have the business plan, once you have, the ideas put together, now you're kind of getting into the realm of really taking big steps towards starting that business. Because now you are probably going out, asking for money, or going out and setting up shop somewhere, creating a website, creating business merchandise and brand merchandise. Before you do all of that, you need to then get a name for your business. Now, this is the part where I really want you to focus on a little bit. So after you do your brainstorming, brain dumping, business plan, you're now going to start thinking of names for your business. And you might have already started thinking of a name while you were creating the business plan, which is wonderful. But your business plan should also have consideration of what kind of intellectual property is your business going to be creating. That includes the name of your business, that includes any type of content that you are creating that has copyright protection, that includes any type of trade secrets that you might have, or things like that, or patents that your business might have. Now, when you have a name for your business and you've thought of a name and you're like, this is wonderful, I really want to go forward with this, I urge you to pause for a second. I urge you to do research. Nowadays, because of Google, because of the internet, we really have a lot of the basic search engines at our disposal to find out whether or not a name is something that you can use. Because a lot of times, we might think the name is available. We might think it's something that, hey, no big deal, nobody else is using it, it doesn't matter. But the reality is that you could be infringing on somebody else's already existing trademark. And that would be a big problem, because if you start a business and you start a business with a certain name and that name already is trademarked, and you've created all of this merchandise for your business with your logo, with your brand name, with the edifice of your business building also has a signage says that name, and all of a sudden you're told, oh, you can't use that name, you're done. You've spent so much money on this name that was never yours to begin with. So I urge you that before you start indulging yourself in all of this signage and merchandise and all these things that you would be using your brand name on, do a basic search. The basic search like Google, and then also social media, and then also USPTO. And what happens is that with the USPTO, you know if anybody has federally, nationally taken that name and trademarked it. And if so, just don't use it. Even if it's similar in nature, don't use it. It's better to err on the side of caution and step away and think of a new name, because hopefully you're not married to that name, and hopefully you're not like, oh gosh, I have to have this name. Because what happens is that it can really become a detriment in the future if somebody already owns it and they're going to say, hey, you can't use this name, you have to shut it down immediately. So if it's on the USPTO, immediately, no go, done, move on. And when you start Googling also, and you see that someone might have a similar name as yours, see where they are, see what region they are, what state they're in, what kind of business they're running. Is it in the same industry as you? Are they doing the same similar services or products as you? Are they registered with their trademark in their state, or whether they're registered with their trademark federally? And then you can kind of determine whether or not it is safe to use this business name. But also think about your business. Are you wanting to go national, or are you wanting to stay local in your region or in your state? And if your dream is to go big, go global, national, then you may want to also step back if somebody else is already using that name, but only locally. And so finding a name is very important, not just because you want people to get attracted to it, and not only because it should be identifying your business, but it's your brand that you are creating. And you don't want to dilute your brand or get in trouble for trying to dilute someone else's brand unknowingly. So please take time out and really make sure that the name that you are using for your business is yours to use. Otherwise, somebody will stake a claim on it beforehand and tag you with trademark infringement. I hate to interrupt this awesome conversation, but I have to stop and talk with you about the number one thing I'm asked about by entrepreneurs: contracts. They're vital to any business relationship and to protect your business. But I also know that entrepreneurs, especially when you're starting up, money is tight. But I would never want you to compromise on a strong legal foundation. So enter yourcontractbuddy.com, a website created by me with contract templates created and drafted by me and fellow industry partners. They're ready to use and easy to plug in immediately. And they are not restricted to any specific state. So yourcontractbuddy.com is sponsoring this episode, and you and your listener can get 10% off right now with code LAWCHAT. Yes, you heard me right. 10% off right now with code LAWCHAT. And now, back to our awesome conversation. So once you figured out the name and you are like, this is awesome, I'm going to go forward with this name, then you move on to your entity formation. A lot of times people want to just start with a sole proprietorship. They are one-man show, and it's okay. A lot of times it is okay. You just really have to determine what is your risk factors and your liability exposure, and then also what doesn't make sense tax-wise for you. I am a proponent of LLCs for the most part, but there's times when you do need to incorporate as a corporation. And you have to just see what works for your business and what makes sense. So say you're a startup. If you're a startup company, you might want to actually file as a corporation or an S Corp before everything else starts, because what happens is that later on, you'll need to have that most likely as an entity for your business in order for investors to invest properly, or if you're wanting to go public. But if you are a business that's not necessarily looking for lots of investors, and maybe you're just small business loan that you want, or even family loans and, friends and family. And at that point, you can say, you know what, my risk exposure is there. I definitely have liability exposure, and I want to get some tax benefits too. So I'm going to do an LLC. And so you want to see which one fits your business the best way. Talk to your CPA, talk to a lawyer, find out what is the best fit with your business and what aligns with your business strategy. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that law is put into place and you're leveraging it as part of your business strategy, not something just to protect yourself, but part of your business strategy. And that way you are now thinking about the future. You're thinking about 10 years down the line, what's the big picture? Where do I want to be in 10 years? And so what do I need to do today in order for me to be there in 10 years? And so you really need to start leveraging the law part of it, and also, of course, the financial part of your business, because they too are married. There's absolutely no way to disconnect them, and there's no way to run away from them also in your business. So those are some things that you truly need to start thinking about. And of course, the business plan will help you, but having conversations with coaches or with other people in your circle will also help you think and help you also see the bigger picture. Now, after you have figured out the entity formation, now you're signing up, you need to do an EIN. So your EIN number is your employer identification number. It's a number that's required for the IRS, for federal tax identification number. It's a 9-digit set of unique numbers that protects your business and provides the corporate veil, but also identifies your business. A lot of times, if you're a sole proprietor, you don't need an EIN number and you can use your social security number. But having an EIN number really helps because it also helps with getting bank accounts and getting loans, and also helps with hiring employees and tax reporting. So it just adds extra oomph to your business, but it also makes your business look professional and in the eyes of third parties. So EIN numbers are important and it's free to get. You just go to the IRS and you literally can put in your name and get an EIN number. And if you already have one and now you're switching over to an LLC, you can apply for an EIN, but then tell them that you already have an existing one. You give them your existing number and then they'll process it for you. But EINs are free and you can go to the IRS website and get that done. So once you're figured out your entity, entity formation, whether it is an LLC, corporation, or some other type of entity, or whether you're just going to stick to being a sole proprietor, then after that, you figure out your EIN because you need to use the name of your business and the entity that it is in order to get that EIN done for you. Usually, I know in the state of Texas, when you file for an LLC, automatically Texas gives you a Texas tax identification number, which is automatically then given to you. So you don't have to do a separate application for that. Now, if we go to from the EINs and getting your business foundation set up, also what I really urge is to have separate bank accounts for your business, whether you are solo, general, LLC, corporation, or anything in between. You need to have a separate bank account for your business. Have your funds separate from each other. They should not be commingling in any form or fashion. So with a separate bank account, you also need to get a separate credit card for your business. So that way you can use your credit card for business expenses rather than using your personal bank account, your personal things for business expenses. And make sure that you don't use the credit card for your business for personal expenditures. Don't commingle those funds, because once you start commingling funds, especially if you're an LLC or if you're a corporation, then what happens is this corporate veil of protection, where the corporate veil is essentially protecting your personal assets from any type of judgment or anybody running after them if they have a grievance with you and they're filing a lawsuit. Then if you're commingling funds, if you're just not keeping them clean and separate, somebody can run after you and your personal assets. So keep it very clean, keep it very uncommingled. And so from there, if you have, you've done your brain dump, you've done the business plan for yourself, you've now created this beautiful name for your business, and you have figured out what type of entity you want, you've done the EIN, you've created a bank account, you have a credit card. Now you are going to kind of go into any type of licensing that your business might need or permits that your business might need. Go to your local, your state, and federal. Those are the 3 areas that you need to look, because sometimes local ordinances might require certain permits and licenses, whereas a state may not or the federal may not. So make sure you have satisfied all types of requirements that you might need. So don't forget it. Sometimes it's forgotten, and you need to go and make sure that you're getting the right permits and licenses that you do need for your business and in the state that you are conducting business, and also local laws as well. Now, I talked about the money and keeping it clear and keeping it separate because, well, like I said earlier, finances and law are totally married. Like there's just no way to disconnect the two. And so when you do that, it also just helps you have a easy financial, roadmap also, where you know where the money is going, you know how much expenses you have, how much money you have in the bank, how much money you have to do any other expenses as well. So it really takes a lot of the burden off of your stress, because that causes a lot of stress ultimately. Now, for your finances, I think I've urged you a lot, but I urge you to get a bookkeeper or a CPA. I made that mistake by not doing it in the beginning. And I think it's such a huge mistake. It's an investment that you want from day one. Because if day one, your books are clean, your books are organized, you are going to be golden when it comes around to tax day. You're going to be golden when it comes around to trying to get a loan or money from someone else, or just, making sure that you can pay the bills and pay your employees, because, hey, you want to scale, you want to grow. And in order for you to scale and grow, you have to have money. And if you don't have money because you're confused about it, get a bookkeeper now or a CPA now. So make sure that you can project and scale and grow. Now, building your brand, we're excited about the name. We're excited about all of these other things that are happening in our business. And we want to be protective of our brand. We want to be protective of our business. If the name that you have created is something that you're like, oh yeah, this is absolutely something that describes my brand so well and identifies my brand, that when somebody sees it, they know it's my brand, trademark it. Trademark it sooner than later. Because if you know you're married to it, this is it, run for it, do it. You can do a state trademark registration. You can do a federal trademark registration. State protects you in the state, federal protects you nationally. And you also have the ability then to internationally extend your trademark depending on the countries, and you might have to just go and do it there too. But the idea is to be protective of your trademark, be protective of your brand, whether that is the brand name or the mini trademark, things that you're creating, whether it is a program or a course or something that's very specific to your business and it's a brand identifier, then don't be scared to start thinking about the trademark and going down the trademark route, and protect your business from day one. That is how you want to do it. Then that is something that is absolutely okay to do. And if you want to pause, figure it out, create that brand name, create that identifiers for your brand where people know it's you, you can do that too. Another thing to think about is the DBA. DBA is doing business as, or also known as assumed name. And DBAs are sometimes given this misnomer that if you do a DBA, you don't have to file for an LLC or register for an LLC or a corporation. And that's not true. DBA is just telling your state, your county, that while my name is Girija Patel, I am operating as so-and-so though. I am conducting business as so-and-so. So if you're not conducting business with your namesake, then you need to file a DBA. And that's just giving notice to the state, to your county, that you are conducting business with a certain name. If you have an LLC and you want an LLC, you have to file for the LLC. You can't just file for the DBA and assume that you've done an LLC. Filing for an LLC also is not filing for trademark. There's two different things. So filing for the LLC, you can have a generic name for the LLC, and then you can have other DBAs under that LLC where you can then file with the state. And with that point, you are letting them know that, hey, I have an LLC, but I'm also doing business as ABC and XYZ. And so that way they know that your company exists, but they also know that you're functioning as these names as well. So that's what a DBA is just giving notice to the state that you are functioning with a different name as well, and you're running business with a different name as well. But there's absolutely, it's not a state filing of LLC. It's not comparable to that type of a state filing, nor a corporation state filing as well. Now, this was a lot of information. a lot of information about starting a business. There is so much more in starting a business, and I have some amazing resources for you. So you can absolutely go to GBP Law and go to the resource library. And I'm also going to put some of the resources in the show notes here today. But I want you to not be scared to take that next step. That next step might seem overwhelming, but really it's just maybe opening up your laptop, getting the Google Doc out, or getting a pen and paper and just writing. And then take each step piecemeal. You don't have to do everything overnight. You don't have to do it in a week. You're creating your own timeline. Remember that. I just was very fondly reminded that by myself this past week, that I am creating my own timeline. And if I'm creating my own timeline, I don't need to be stressing myself because they're self-inflicted due dates. And so have something that's manageable, create something that you know is achievable also, but also something that is helping you reach your goals. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to email, to send me a DM. I hope this was helpful. If this was helpful to you, share it with somebody else as well. And of course, grab the show notes so you know the different aspects that you need for starting a business. And good luck to you. And actually tell me, what business are you starting? I'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for joining Law Chat with Girija. I love these kind of stories and conversations where we can be real, honest, and open, and having fun at the same time. I hope you are inspired and motivated to keep doing the amazing work you are doing. If this is something that gave you all those feels and then some, truly motivated and inspired for you, you can show your love in all or one of these ways. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with your community and tell them about it, or share it with somebody that can benefit from it. I look forward to seeing you next time on another episode of Law Chat, and until then, keep moving forward. Bye.